Hi, today's class is CSS. In last class we have seen about cookies in JavaScript, and today we are going to learn about CSS, what is the syntax of CSS and how to do CSS. So first of all, coming to what is CSS. CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets, and CSS describes how elements are to be displayed on the screen. In HTML we can display the plain text, but while coming to CSS it is used to describe how the HTML elements are to be displayed. By using CSS, we can assign different designs for the HTML page. Without CSS, the plain HTML page will look like this. That is, it will not have any design but only the text is displayed. So the main difference between the HTML and CSS is HTML is used for describing the text and CSS is used for designing the HTML document. So here is a sample CSS document, that is how it looks like. So if you add CSS for the HTML page, this is the sample design how it looks. So I will show you another CSS design for the same page, for the same HTML page, and this is the another CSS design. So if you want to see another thing, these are all the different types of cascading style sheets. So if you want to see without style sheet, see, this is the way how the HTML page looks like without CSS. So why do we use CSS? We use CSS to define the styles of our web page. So CSS really solved a big problem for the web designers, because HTML was never intended to contain the tags for formatting a web page. HTML was only created for describing the content of the web page. So the CSS saves lot of works for the web designer. Now let us see syntax for the CSS. So this is the main syntax. First we need to define the selector. Next, within the curly brackets we define the declarations. Selector is nothing but the HTML tag, and in the declaration we have the property colon followed by the value. And if you want to mention number of declarations, we separate them by the semicolon. So this is the general syntax for defining the CSS. Here is the example. Here the selector is P, that is tag P. So tag P is used for a paragraph tag. So here we are using the selector P, and the declaration property is color and the value is red. And another declaration we are giving that text align and the value is center. So let us see the output of this. See, here we have defined the CSS by using the syntax we have learned, that is selector, and within the curly brackets we define the declarations, that is property followed by the value. So here this CSS is applied for the paragraph tag in the HTML document, that is hello world will have the color red and the text align as center. The same will be for the paragraph, second paragraph, that is this paragraph is also styled with CSS. So suppose let us see an example like changing the color to green. So this is the general syntax CSS. So now let us learn the important part of today's class is how to CSS. There are three different ways for doing CSS: inline style sheet, internal style sheet, and external style sheet. So what is the three ways? What are the purpose of these three ways? We are going to see now. First let us consider about inline CSS. So I'll give a brief description about inline CSS, internal CSS, and external CSS. Suppose if you consider inline CSS, that is the styling is defined within the tag. So here we have not seen the previous syntax, right? The style is defined within the tag, within the HTML tag. So this is called inline CSS. This is the second one. Here we have defined the selector with the declarations, and this will be applied for the tags which are in the document. So this is the example for inline declaration. That is, the styles will be declared within the document and not within the tags. And while coming to the third type of declaration, that is external CSS, here we don't declare any CSS in the document. We create a separate style sheet and we link that style sheet to this document. This is the external style sheet. Yeah. So in inline declaration, whatever the style we applied for the tag will be applied only for the particular tag, and this will not be applied for any other tag that has the same h1. So here if you see the example, the style is applied only for the first h1, that is, this is the heading, and for the hello no style sheet is applied. So while coming to internal CSS, the CSS will be applied for each and every tag that consists of h1. So we have declared here h1 has color maroon and the margin left as 40 pixel. So this one will be applied for the first h1, that is, this is the heading, and also be applied for the testing. So if you see here, both this is the heading and testing are in the same CSS what we have mentioned here. While coming to the external CSS, this is actually used in large websites. That is, in a website we have hundreds of pages. So for designing a CSS for each and every page is really a nightmare for the web developers. So this will be really helpful. For that, they create one CSS file and they import the CSS file for the entire website, so that if the website consists of 100 pages or 1000 pages, that does not matter, because each and every web page will be having the same uniformity between all the web pages. So now let us have a final look between all the three types of CSS, that is inline CSS, where we define the styling within the HTML tag itself, and internal CSS, where we define the CSS in the style tags, and we define the CSS within the style tags. And the last one is external CSS, where we design the separate CSS file and we save it as .css and we'll import or we'll link that CSS to the present document. So I'll show you another example, that is, so this is the HTML page where we imported the CSS file. So let us have a look at the CSS file. This is the CSS file. So nothing, we just declare this CSS in a separate file. We just declared the CSS in a separate file and name that as .css, and just we link that CSS to the HTML document where we want to apply the same styling. So if you have a look at this, we are just declaring the CSS body. The body should have the background color light blue, and the h1 tag should have the color navy and left margin as 20 pixel. And we are importing the CSS file for this HTML page. So if we see at this page, we'll be having the background as navy blue and we'll be having the left margin as 20 pixels. So to whatever the HTML document you import this, the same CSS will be applied for each and every HTML page where you link this CSS. So these are the three different types of CSS. So once I have a look at the syntax, selector, and within the curly brackets declarations. So in today's class we have discussed about CSS, introduction about the CSS, what are the uses of CSS, and what is the syntax of USS, and what are the different types of doing CSS. So hope you enjoyed the class. Thank you.